Welcome to 8.9. We are going to be writing inequalities today. So yesterday you were figuring out if you would substitute with our variable. Could we make this statement true? If it was true, it meant it was a solution. And if it's something that's not true, it's not a solution. So today we're going to be looking at some more inequalities. And we're going to look at kind of some sentences and how we can write an inequality based on a sentence, kind of using real world examples. And then how we can look at an inequality and actually turn it into words ourselves. So we're going to be going back and forth. To help you in each of your steps today, I included this little helper sheet. So these are some ways that we can express inequality symbols in words. So let's take a look at our less than symbol. So of course this could mean less than. You might also see this referred to under or not as much as. Okay. Now, if we're looking for less than or, and that special line is underneath, it means less than or equal to. So other types of kind of phrases that you'll see are phrases like at most and no more than. Okay. Because you want to include a number, but you just can't go above that number. Okay. So let's take a look over here. We have greater than, just kind of the plain one. So greater than, you'll see things like you can have over a certain amount, you can have more than this amount. And then it gets a little more complicated, right, when we throw that line underneath it, because now it's greater than or equal to. So when you're looking at a real world problem, that means it's at least this amount or no less than this amount. So you can have that number, you can have that equal to number, but you can go above and beyond it. Where when you're doing less than, you can have a number, but you can't go beyond it. No more than this, it has to be under. Okay, so let's look at some examples together. Example one of what you're gonna have to do today is write an inequality based on a sentence. So the highest temperature ever recorded at the South Pole was 8 degrees Fahrenheit. Write an inequality to show that the temperature T in degrees Fahrenheit at the South Pole is less than or equal to 8 degrees Fahrenheit. So my friends, what I want you to do is look for these keywords. And if you do that, I'm going to go ahead and grab my highlighter. If we do that, I'm seeing the keywords less than or equal to. And I see that up here, less than or equal to. So now I'm going to have that in the middle, and I'm going to use it to compare my variable to the numbers that they gave. So you'll notice they're representing temperature with a T. Later on today, you'll be allowed to kind of pick what variable you want to use. And then we're just using the letter 8 for Fahrenheit. It's a positive 8, you'll notice. Okay, so if we're saying less than or equal to, we have to use this symbol. So T is less than or equal to. So make sure that when you go to draw this, okay, that you have, oops, I'm sorry. When you go to draw this, try that again, okay, you have to make sure the alligator is facing away from the T because temperature T is less than. So it does matter which direction. So you can pick the right symbol, but it matters what side you put the T on and it matters what side you put that 8 on, okay, because it's less than or equal to 8. So it's been 8 or it's been a lot less. And you know Miss Witte hates the cold, so you can imagine how I would feel in the South Pole. So now I'm going to go ahead and write that T, and I kind of make it look a little fancy because it's the variable, right? Is less than or equal to 8. And that's where you'll leave it. So we're going to go from sentences to kind of our expression. Now let's take an inequality expression and turn it into a sentence. So again, we're kind of sticking with our purple guy here. N is less than or equal to 3/10. So if we take a look over here, we can pick between kind of any of these options in the purple box. So N is less than or equal to 3/10. We could also say N is no more than 3/10? Both work. So if you're being asked today to write 2-word sentences, what they want you to do is to take this inequality and turn it into a sentence. The n is still going to be the same. You're still going to use standard form for your numbers. We're just going to add in that middle section our words, just like we kind of had stolen out of this word problem over here. Let's look at another one. A is greater than -4. So notice there's no line underneath. So this is just a plain old greater than. So let's go up here to the greater than. Okay, so we can use greater than, we can use over, we can use more than. So A is blank than, so they want us to use the more than -4. And then it says A is blank than -4, so we could say greater than. And I apologize, my mouse doesn't let me do too much. Greater. Perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and look at some more examples. Here are some ways to express inequality symbols in words, so we're going to keep that at the top every single time. Okay, let's look at some examples. Try this. The director, let me get the highlighter. The directors of an animal shelter need to raise more than $50,000 during a fundraiser. They want to get more than that. So we're going to write an inequality that represents the amount of money in dollars. So we want to use M that the directors need to raise. So we need to use M. We need to use the dollar amount, which is $50,000. But now I want to kind of make sure I'm looking at these keywords up top and finding some down here. And I see more than. And now let's go ahead and plug some stuff in. So we have the amount of money, M, which you put there, more than the amount of money, which is 50,000. So I'm going to go ahead and just write that 50,000 in there. Okay. And I'm just taking off the dollar sign because you don't need to have that in the inequality. Okay, so I'm kind of like taking it away. Is more than. So if we look up here and I find more than, bam, it's right up here, which means I'm going to use the symbol greater than. So M, the amount of money we're going to raise, has to be greater than 50,000. So if I just raise exactly 50,000, it's just not enough. I need to raise more than that. I want to raise 60,000, 70,000, 500,000, some number that's much larger. So down here, friends, all you'll do is M is greater than 50,000. Perfect. All right, next. Sometimes it's not going to be a full-on word problem. It's going to be kind of more basic. So this is just a sentence that we're going to turn into an inequality. Okay, so the weight is less than 3 1/2 pounds. Okay, so we want to represent the weight. So go ahead, friends, be obvious. We're going to represent the weight by just using whatever the first letter is of the word we're substituting. So W, perfect. Now we see less than, right? So less than is going to be a keyword for us. And then we have our second value, which is 3 1/2. So now less than, if you know what to do, go right ahead. But if you need to come up here and reference and find less than on its own is going to be this symbol, right? Where the alligator is facing the right side. So we're going to plug it in here. So then all we write down here is W is less than 3 1/2. Perfect. Let's look here at B. There must be at least 65 police officers on duty. At least. Okay, so I want to come up here and I want to find where we see at least. At least. Oh, here we go. At least. All right, so that means I want to be using the at least symbol, which is the greater than or equal to symbol. Perfect. Okay. So there has to be at least 65 police officers on duty. Okay, so here's how we're going to kind of pull this apart. The number of officers, we're going to go ahead and just represent that using the letter P for police. So the number of police has to be greater than or equal to. So we're using the greater than or equal to the number 65. Okay, so then we come down here and police greater than or equal to. So I can have 65 police. That's fine. That means the event will run smoothly. But I can't have less than this number. So I can have 65 police or I can have way more. I can have 66, 70, 80, 100, 150. So, but I can, if I have 65, that's okay. That's the minimum amount. We're totally good. Okay.